Obviously, Texas has been getting up a lot of explosive plays this year. How tempting is it to go for a home run to begin every series?
Yeah, Texas, they're still a very solid defense. I think they're one of the better ones in our league. When you look at the explosive plays, there's probably a lot of variables to that. But I think they play extremely hard, and I think they're very multiple as well. You probably heard Coach Holderson talk about that and how they can move in and out a lot of different fronts. They do the same thing with their coverages as well. And there's times where they're going to be playing drop 8 and playing very deep safeties and keeping everything underneath, which you got to be pretty disciplined in getting through your progressions if you do have a shot play on and getting down through your checkdowns. This is a team that you can't go out there and just have 1 to 2 receivers out on a route, just hoping that they're going to play really heavy into the run fit. Because they may drop out like on a 2nd and 1 when they think you're going to throw a shot play and drop 8. So it's going to be one of those games that we all got to be disciplined in what we're doing, make sure that we're getting through our progressions, make sure we get a flow for the game on how we're going to call it, and make sure that we're putting those kids in the best position.
Who do they remind you of? Do they remind you of anybody you've played so far?
They're Iowa State-ish, at times, but they're more multiple. They're going to play some 4 down front probably 25% of the time. And I think they're very confident in their pass rushers. Their guys have good motors and when they rush the passer. So it's going to be a good challenge for our offensive line in terms of run game and with protection. With the back end, they are very multiple, like Iowa State. So you're going to get a lot of different looks. You're going to get man at times. You're going to get drop 8. You're going to get quarters, cover 3. It's going to be to a point where we've got to keep it simple on these kids and make sure that they're not blinking and there's no hesitation when they're trying to execute.
Now that you've been able to watch the tape from the Baylor game, what was the issue there on 3rd downs where you went 1 for 10? How does that improve and get back to where you guys were the first couple of weeks?
Overthinking it a little bit. We're getting into a little bit too many checks. They were a multiple defense. A lot of those times we were checking into different looks and they're baiting us on things. A little skewed, the number was, because at the end of the game with Jack, we were trying to run some clock on certain things, and there was 2 of them when we were in 4 down territory where we had a 4th down opportunity if needed. But still, it's not where we want it to be, and we've got to be able to sustain drives, and that has been an emphasis throughout these couple days off. And through our meetings as well as a staff, and we've been, looking through it pretty hard and making sure that we're going to get something where they can get out there and execute and get the ball in play.
Jake, describe a little bit how you can get baited into something on 3rd down. I mean, what they do. I know they show you something and do something.
They'll show you a man look, and you're trying to get into man answers, and they drop out and they bluff into cover 3 or they drop 8 and they put you in a position that those man answers aren't good for, and partially that's on me, in terms of just giving too much freedom on some of those things and not probably thoroughly explaining some of those looks. But it gets to a point now where these 3rd downs, teams are so multiple and they try to keep you on the edge of your seat where they can zero pressure you, drop 8, where you got to have answers to get the ball out of your hand, but then you have to have answers to move on to your progression and zones. So it's going to be very multiple with what we do.
What's the biggest challenge with this defense? You look at them, they've got, I think, 9 of the 11 guys have at least 15 career starts. I mean, they've got a lot of experience in this defense.
Yeah, you see a lot of familiar bodies from what we faced last year. They were a very solid defense last year. They've gone through some injuries this year. And they're moving guys into a lot of different positions, and I think they're starting to get comfortable with where they're at. It's interesting how when one guy goes down, how many other bodies, how many guys play different spots. Where I think they're going to be healthier this week in terms of getting the bodies they want back, so they can get back to what they're doing and being more comfortable with. But again, with them being multiple. They've had guys that played so many different games. There's games where they came out and had an injury and they played 4 down majority of it because that was the best thing for them, and that was the best 11 that they believed they could put out on the field. So it's a battle of attrition right now for us, like in terms of how we prepare for them, because you're going to get a good idea, what direction they're going to go based off of the guys that they put out there on the field.
Look at what they've done. I mean, they basically the yards have come from Oklahoma and Oklahoma State.
Right.
They basically shut everybody else down.
Yeah,
We've got some on them a little bit.
That's what he was talking about, explosive plays. And I was like, I haven't seen too many of them, but they're out there. But I thought Oklahoma and Oklahoma State big played them, which you guys saw that Saturday night. They made some contested plays. Oklahoma State did. The 4th and 1, that was in double coverage. Number 2 for Oklahoma State made a phenomenal play. The first touchdown of the game, was in this triple coverage into this hole, and the guy. It was a good ball, it was good coverage. You can't really explain much about it. So, we got to just make sure that our kids are playing with the edge that they played with when we came out versus Baylor, because they are a tough physical team, and these guys are experienced like you talk about, and they are multiple, but we got to be able to come down to who's going to play the hardest.
So your message is to the playmakers. You've got to make some contested plays.
Got to. They're coached very well. There's not just a lot of holes open in this defense, and they make you earn everything. And if you want to have a big game, then you got to make some people miss, and you got to make contested plays. And I thought Oklahoma State did a good job at that, on just getting the ball on the perimeter with their run game and their pass game as well. And they were just very multiple with running backs and receivers and everything, which. Those guys made some plays, but I give Texas credit. They were in spots that were well defended.
I think this may be taboo, but Oklahoma State ran their quarterback a little bit too.
Right.
I don't want to get too far down that road, but it's effective. I know there's some history, but and Will did shake somebody on a 4th down play too.
Yeah, we got it.
You can't let him sit there
in the
and be a
playbook,
target, right?
Yeah, you can't. You got to be able to be multiple at this point in the season. You're in the grind of there's a lot of important games, obviously, everything's close. So you got to do whatever it takes to make sure that we're moving the ball and doing the things right in situations. And that was a 4th down call versus Baylor that we were kind of stalling out on drives, and I thought that 4th down with the keep with Will actually sparked the momentum of the rest of the game. And that's something that you've got to keep always in your back pocket, because Will is capable of extending plays, and he's capable of being a pretty good runner.
If they were running at the running backs on what they thought were replays, they weren't even really regarding Will.
Oklahoma State had a lot of design plays where they protected the QB. They're pulling tackles, and they're pulling fullbacks and influencing defenders different ways, where it wasn't like he was going to take a crazy shot. But like it came down with Oklahoma State, game on the line, 3rd down, he scores, seals the game.
Hopefully you recall this more clearly than Dana, but when you moved Josh Sills to right guard, how much do you think that sort of gave you guys a boost on the line, and what's that say about his versatility?
It says a lot about his versatility. That's something that I've never experienced. You talk to offensive linemen a lot about it. There is a comfort level with that. It's not as people think. It's pretty easy just to move from the left side of the line to the right side of the line. There's actually a psychological effect to that, and a practice rep still. But, I think he's had plenty of reps at left and right guard, and just his demeanor, nothing's really going to faze him. So it was a pretty easy transition for him over there. When you have a guy like that it's not going to really mess with him much, then you can allow these backups, these younger guys, to be working at one position only, and so they can get comfortable at that spot. So if you took a younger guy or an inexperienced guy or a guy that's maybe struggling and you moved him to the other side of the line, that probably would make him play worse and think more than what he should actually do. So that's the thing about the versatility of Josh. You can move him here and you can bump people in the game and keep them at they're comfortable at that left guard position.
And then, Chase, do you feel like he played better himself making that move to the left?
He did. We've been playing a lot of numbers up there, but very pleased with where Chase was. We've been challenging those guys week in, week out, and you got to be pleased with the effort that they're putting into it. They care. Very proud of how they go in there, and they're going to screw up at times, but their intentions are right. They're playing really hard. And that speaks volumes for those guys that are playing one week and then they're off the next week and then they're in the next week. So it's that can be a psychological thing as well. But they're great team players, and very pleased with how they come in and play for us.
Are you surprised at how well Oklahoma State ran the ball against them? I know some of
the
the carries came at the end of the game when they were salting the clock away and so forth. But
They came out running it too.
Yeah.
You know, I thought that was the key of what let them have so much success. You know, because Texas takes pride in not letting you have much, you know, explosive plays in the run game. All right, and that was one of the few games that happened where they made some explosive plays from the start. Justice Hill is a phenomenal running back. He's really good, and I thought they did a good job at getting those guys the ball, and the O-line was playing with an edge, and I thought the run game, Oklahoma State did a very good job.
Look at the games that they have struggled. Maryland ran the ball a little bit. Oklahoma obviously did. Obviously, that's got to be a part of what you're doing against them.
You got to.
Yeah.
I think in football in general, you got it. You know, if you can't run the ball efficiently, there's going to be a lot of headaches. You know, you're going to, hopefully you're on and you're throwing it well, and you know you're still going to be frustrated with the outcome. But when you run the ball efficiently, it makes play calling, it makes the flow of the offense, the flow of the game so much easier, so much better.
What makes Sills so good at scoring touchdowns, and how did he inject Jennings with that this year?
Yeah, I probably inject that with Gary because everybody knows how good he is at catching touchdowns. So they double coverage him a lot, which opens Gary. But yeah, Sills he's a phenomenal kid. You know, his work ethic, you know, what this program stands for is David Sills. You know, like just how he approaches the game, how he approaches the team, how he approaches this university. And I think just his relentless pursuit of daily excellence is what makes him where he is, because he's kind of annoying to me at times because he won't get out of my office. But it's a good problem to have, you know, because he's constantly wanting to learn and get better, and you see it translate to the field.
What has Wesco helped you out with in the running game?
Everything. He brings such a great presence in the box where that he brings such a physicality to it that when we do slip him out on those plays, where you get those little chunk yardage, he's wide open because he blocks so hard in the box. You know, that's what it goes down to, is when those plays are working, that means Wesco's bringing it in the run game. And those RPOs put those backers in such a bind that they either have to acknowledge and get to the run gap, or they got to play the pass. And most defenses are going to try to get to that run gap, so you're not, being efficient in the run game. So I think that kind of speaks for how effective he's been in the run blocking, because he's so wide open on some of those perimeter screens.
You still run your small handful of running plays, but dress it up a whole bunch of different ways by moving him.
Yeah, you do a lot of that. You know, we try to keep it simple for the O-line, and you can just put a lot more on Wesco, where I think Coach Gerberry does a great job with him and teaching him the different backfield alignments, the different presentations throughout the course of each game. But, you know, you keep it easy on the O-line and you make it a little bit difficult on the tight ends.
How do you decide which running back's going to be on the field at any given time?
I don't know. You got to ask Coach Blackwell that question. You know, it's a roll of the dice. You're going to use them all. You are. I'm just glad to see all four of them healthy.
Jake, your most extensive time to see Jack Allison. As you watched his tape, what'd you see?
Yeah, I was fired up for him, actually. You know, he got his first college touchdown pass, and he ripped it in there. You know, that was something that he was wide open. Gary was. You know, there's a lot of guys that would baby that throw, but you know, he stepped in there. He ripped it in there. I asked him what he was reading, and he said he came off and told me exactly what he was. He held the backside safety, and he trusted Gary with his route. And you know, just hearing those things, it's pleasing for me just to see him with all the hard work that he's put into it, where he's came from last year to this year, and go out there and execute. And those guys celebrate. They were pretty excited. The whole sideline and the guys on the field were excited for him. So a lot of hard work, you know, for that kid, where you can see the success now.
Where's his footwork, and how much better can he get in that aspect?
Footwork, he can always get better. You know, the thing that Jack's got to do is he's got to be able to know when to get down, obviously. He took a huge shot on the run play when he should have handed that one off. He got a little excited when you get the tag the QB run aspect to it. But he's got to still be able to work the pocket. That's going to be a huge thing for him because he's not the most mobile kid. He's not going to extend the plays as much on the perimeter. He's going to be very dangerous in the pocket, and he's got to keep getting better at his craft and making sure that he's got good pocket presence.